What's your never again story? One time I went tubing down a river in my small town and it turned into a day from hell. So I lived in a town of 900 population for a number of years up in northern Minnesota. There was a river in the town that didn't seem to get much tubing action. Our family used to come up and we would go tubing down a river that was an hour away. This year we decided to go local. So my Phil drove us there in nothing but swimsuits. We had no phones and no shoes. He dropped us off at the bridge and drove 20 minutes away to where we would get out to wait for us. Well, we jumped in and everything was going great. The water was deep and moving slow but not bad. As we were going along, we came to a large beaver dam. We had gone too far to turn back, so we tried to crawl over it with our tubes. The other side was horrible. Muddy swallow water that smelt like poop. Every step we took, we sank in about 2 feet of mud. Finally the water was deeper, but the river had so many trees down on it. We had to crawl over them. By this time we were out. For about an hour, with no end in sight. We kept going because we had no choice. It was about 80 degrees that day and dreadfully humid. The horseflies came out and started attacking our heads. The guys got hit more than us girls, probably because our hair. So as we float as a snail pace, the river starts getting more and more narrow. There are these bushes on either side hanging down into the water. As we start brushing up against them, huge spiders start falling all over us. We were all screaming, trying not to touch the sides. It was horrifying. We get to an electric fence that is hovering over and across the stream at about 2 feet. We can hear it buzzing, so we knew it was on. We slid into the water and pushed our tubes under it and prayed we didn't touch it. Finally we get through the spiders. About 2 hours in, we get to a large tree down over the river. We can't go over it because it's too big. So we all walk out about 30 ft in waist-high brush barefoot and practically naked, to walk around this tree. As we get back to the river, we are picking ticks off us. Yes, ticks. You would think it doesn't get any worse, but it does. So finally back in the river, and by this point we are all dying for this nightmare to be over. Also it's getting late. It was as about 8 p.m. but in northern Minnesota summer, it's light until 10 to 11 p.m. The mosquitoes start to come out. So now we have mosquitoes, spiders, ticks and horseflies. The river starts to become very S-like and it's taking forever to get to wherever the F we were going. About 3 hours in we finally see his car. We can't get to him though because of the curves of the river. So for 45 more minutes we can see him but keep going. We finally come wobbling out of the river, so thankful it was over. As we are getting out we realized that we were covered in leeches. Yup. We pulled them off and we are all bleeding from scratches and covers and bug bites. He laughed and said, I got a bit worried there. You were gone for 3 hours. Thought you might be having too much fun. It was by far the most torturing experience of my life. Also I was terrified that we were going to have to spend the night out there. Edit. Just realized this thread is all about men. Lol, oops. Well, it was my husband's idea to tube this river, so never again. Lol. Edit 2. Eek, my first gold. Thanks guys. Edit 3. I don't want to say where I lived for privacy, but this is the link. Letting a guy pick me up for a first date. It forces you to stay even if you're uncomfortable, and lets the guy know where you live, which is a disadvantage if the date doesn't go well. I let a guy pick me up last month, something I never do, because my car wouldn't start and I wish I hadn't. Take a laxative without drinking a bunch of water. I thought I was going to die. I'll never beg anyone to stay ever again. If you don't want to be in my life, I don't want you here. I love how almost all of these are dating, sex stories, and I was just going to say staying up all night cramming for a test. Slept right through my alarm, missed the test. Accept a pity date from someone I know I have zero interest in. It was awkward as fuck from start to finish and ended with him groping me. Never gonna read into someone's behavior to try to find a silver lining. People show who they are by what they do. It's really that simple. Staying at a job for 18 years because I kept thinking it would get better eventually. I finally realized I was in an emotionally abusive relationship with my former employer. It wasn't me. It was them. I moved on and am finally actively appreciated for my contributions. Never again will I agree to additional roles with the promise of a salary increase without getting it in writing. Doubled my workload, didn't get paid a dime. I feel like they are all self-explanatory, so let's just list them off. Never dating someone who's extremely prone to jealousy again. They stop at nothing to guilt-trip you. Read. Gaslighting, emotional abuse. Never dating someone who literally lives in their parents' basement again. What was I thinking? In trying to prove I wasn't shallow, I proved I was an idiot. He was 30 BTW. Never dating someone with a tragic, one that got away story again. Will not waste my time being constantly compared to someone else ever again. Never dating someone who mentions at every opportunity that they were raised by women, raised to respect women, etc. Ever again. I learned the hard way that saying that shit more than once is a nice GUI specialty. None of these are even the same person. If I didn't feel like it was my life goal to find my person, I would have given up by now. Edit. ITT. Hashtag NoTallBasementDwellers. Hashtag NoTallWoman. Raised the amount of people offended by my personal choices as if it affects them is irritating. I'm turning off inbox replies now. I don't care to defend my experiences anymore. If you're personally bothered by number 2 or number 4, guess what? We, or me, your brother, so, husband, father, other misc man in your life, are not a match. Crazy how that works. Will never again accept someone's excuse for cheating. I'm monogamous, and if you can't be, boy. Bye. Google my symptoms. Diagnosed myself with stage 4 lung cancer. Decided to die quietly at home. Eventually got dragged to an sexual doctor. Had embolisms in my heart and lungs. Lucky to survive that particular bout of idiocy.